Welcome to the Vault XL. Thank you for your time. This is live number 3. This is a 3-part live stream pertaining to Sherri Papini, the great hoaxer, kidnap hoaxer, Megan Boswell, and Victoria Huron. Thank you for your time. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $sign again, 129 Cash App, stickers or chats, always welcome during the live stream. Thank you for your participation. Please check out the earlier lives from early morning pertaining to is he on the down low, the signs to look for. Naturally, these were other people's opinions pertaining to homosexual men, bisexual men who are currently hiding in the closet. Please check out that live stream. It is well worth your time. Let's get down to business, everybody. Thank you. The next live stream will be this evening pertaining to Seth Rogers and his son, Sebastian Rogers, was still currently missing out of Middle Tennessee. We're also going to talk about some YouTube nonsense as well during that live stream. And Katie Proudfoot, did she rid her child as to be rid of Seth Rogers? That is the next live stream later this evening. Thank you for your time.
I want to ask for your time yesterday. There's additional things I want to do to change the information. I recognize we need to do that probably sooner rather than later. Should that be made? It could take some time to just consider it. If we recognize that there's like separate motions, question, so I'll be asking this question. I think as long as it wants to be arranged well,
there was a reconsidered test.
Yes, Judge. There's additional, there's a protocol we're bringing forward on the scope of the jury questionnaires. I think we haven't done that yet. This goes to copies of it earlier today. I think we can pinpoint the amount of news coverage here as it relates to this case as opposed to other areas of the state. I think that's something that's important to do. And also, we have not filed any affidavits at this point of being here in the county, and I want to explore that option as well. Judge, I'll be on that. I'd rather not. I don't have my flight book. Unless we're going to take our vacation. And I'm not exactly sure on what day we go to, possibly the August 8th or 9th. Yes, sir. I have a case of teaching the general session school. That's what it said. I'm sure. I'll ask them.
I'll see if
It's not.
All right. Not much with the proceedings. I don't have to read what happened because I'm going to give you a lot of information in the court so you all can understand what happened. Hello, everybody in the chat. Thank you for joining me. This is a 3-part live stream. All females. How interesting is that? All females. WJHL.com is the source. The state of Tennessee has filed its response to Megan Boswell attorney's motion for a change of venue, and prosecutors don't think doing so is necessary. In a response to the change of venue motion, Second Judicial District Attorney General Barry Staubus asked the court to deny the motion. If accepted, Megan Boswell's murder trial would take place somewhere outside of Sullivan County. Boswell faces numerous charges, including 2 counts of felony murder in the death of her toddler, Evelyn Boswell. Boswell's former attorney, Brad Sproles, filed the change of venue motion before he withdrew from the case. Gene Scott was appointed as Boswell's attorney in October of 2022. Sproles had argued that the media attention Boswell's case had garnered would likely make it too difficult to find an impartial jury. Staubus argued that Boswell is not entitled to a change of venue and cited 2 primary reasons, which can be read as they were written in the response below. Number 1, prejudice should not be presumed merely because of the extent and nature of the pre-trial publicity. And number 2, the parties are likely to be able to seek an impartial jury in Sullivan County after a careful and thorough selection process. Tennessee law requires trials take place in the county where the alleged offenses took place, but a court may change the venue if a fair trial is unlikely because of undue excitement against the county where the offense was committed or for any other cause. Staubus argued that the existence of media coverage surrounding the case does not equate to the belief that potential jurors have already made up their minds and will be incapable of being impartial. He wrote that jurors do not necessarily go into a trial without any preconceived notions, but their ability to set those aside and reach a verdict based on evidence is what makes them impartial. The state also claimed that since relevant parties have not spoken publicly on any evidence, the trial should proceed in Sullivan County. Amen. While there has been geographically widespread media coverage about this case, the nature and extent of the coverage has been limited because the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, the state, the court, and the defense have refrained from releasing or commenting on the facts and evidence at issue in this case, the response reads. According to Staubus's response, the court has already stated a careful jury selection process, and both the prosecution and defense will have the chance to make sure jurors are impartial. That process included a test jury questionnaire that was sent out. The filed response claimed 168 responses were received, 155 of which indicated that the person who filled it out had heard about the case in some context. Of those, 102 said they had formed an opinion of some kind on the case. According to the response, 28 of those 102 said they were unsure or did not share their opinion, and other 74 said their opinion was that Boswell was either guilty or probably guilty. Staubus pointed to another metric, however, as a way of saying an impartial jury could be found. Only 34 of the 168 responses said they would not be capable of setting aside their opinion to hear the evidence. 34 of 168 would not be capable of setting aside their opinion to hear evidence. Boswell is set to appear in Sullivan County Court Thursday afternoon, which was today, She has remained in jail since February of 2020 after she was initially charged with false reports. So, to sum this commentary up, her attorneys want to change the venue. It's been denied. It's setting forth in Sullivan County. Amen. Thank you, Judge. Because the point is, people talk. That's the world we live in. And you committed a crime. You've been alleged to commit a crime, Miss Megan, in a small jurisdiction in East Tennessee. So people talk. And yes, people will form their opinions. Will the jury be impartial? We will wait to see. We pray that everything follows through. There'll be no shenanigans. There'll be nobody that's an 18th cousin of her. Anybody related to the district attorney and or the defense attorneys. Pray there won't be any mad excitement to disrupt the court proceedings or tampering with witnesses, so on and so forth. This has been a long time coming. It needs to be put to bed, this case, just like any other case, because it takes up time running, shuffling around with lawyers, and she's had different lawyers and shenanigans. It's time for it to stop. And I believe they'll be able to find 12 members. All you have to do, prayer is all you have. As you also hear, they sent out a survey. So that's what the defense is banking on. The few little people that they found that said they couldn't, they already had an idea of how they would vote. Well, 30-something out of 168. It's just a few people. Just a few people. And that's another thing, as I've said before in my commentary. Everybody don't stay in tune to the news. A lot of people don't keep up with the latest news. Crime happens every day in towns, and people don't keep up with who broke into a car, who sexually assaulted somebody, who just got arrested. There are people who are not in tune to anything, whether it's true crime or not. They just aren't in tune, and it happens right in their backyard. It happens right next door to them. It happens in the same town. They're not in tune. That's the latest on Megan Boswell. Praying for a swift court proceeding. Everything goes on time. No more shenanigans. No more, I don't want my lawyer. I don't like this lawyer. Enough. Stand trial like a woman and do what you got to do. You killed that baby. I believe you killed that baby. That's why you have a new murder charge right now. She has been indicted on a new murder charge, which they believe she planned, premeditated, deliberately killed baby Evelyn. Beautiful baby. Snuffed out, gone, stuffed in bags in a shed on her father's property. And I don't believe a brother did it, cousin, auntie did it. I believe Megan did it. Dating a young man, wanted a new life without that kid, and she got rid of that baby. That's my personal opinion. That's my personal opinion. Sherri Papini'S. Today, Hulu airs a documentary pertaining to Sherri Papini'S. Feel free to check it out. Let the Queen know what you think of that said information. Where are her children? Who has custody of her children? Does she get supervised visits? Rumors of a boyfriend? Queen's going to break all that down. This new cushy life. I still feel like she's on the grift, on the grind, because now she's entangled with some stupid man who obviously is oblivious to what's going on. And when I read his quick bio on him, I'm starting to question who he is as well. Starting to question who he is. And it's no disrespect, but I'm always going to question anybody that would get tangled up with a person who has just exacted a very serious crime. What the hell do you want with her? What in the hell would you want with Sherri Papini'S? I'm just saying. It's very bizarre to me. People.com is the source pertaining to Sherri Papini'S. Thank you for joining me. Subject matter number 2, everybody. Sherri Papini'S was dubbed the new Gone Girl when she made headlines in 2016, went missing in November 16, in which her husband, Keith Papini, and volunteers from all over the Redding, California community and surrounding areas desperately searched for her. She resurfaced 3 weeks later and claimed she was abducted at gunpoint by 2 Hispanic women, held hostage, beaten until one of them let her go. Despite hundreds of tips, potential leads, investigators didn't make a crack in the case until they found a DNA match. More than 4 years after her disappearance and her story unraveled quickly, Sherri faked her own kidnapping, shocking not just authorities and the public, but also her own husband and family members. The case inspired its own Lifetime original movie hoax, Kidnapping of Sherri Papini with Jamie King starring role, and is the subject of a 2024 Hulu true crime docuseries, The Perfect Wife, The Mysterious Disappearance of Sherri Papini, premiering June 20th, which is today. Here's everything you need to know about Sherri Papini's kidnapping hoax and where she is today. Now, I'm going to skim over a lot of this because most of you have already heard this information. She made headlines in November 2016 for this hoax. And it goes on to talk about when she left, her relationship with her husband. I'm just going to skim over some of this as not to keep you all alone during here. We can backtrack. We're going to jump forward to somebody offering money to help in the case. Keith eventually grew frustrated with the lack of progress. He sought help from Cameron Gamble, hostage negotiator who worked with an anonymous donor to offer $50,000 ransom for Sherri's return. When she didn't turn up, the donor rescinded the ransom offer, instead offered a higher sum for anyone with information on Sherri's disappearance. The ransom reward plus the website launched to promote them made national headlines. Thanksgiving morning, 22 days after her disappearance, a motorist spotted Sherri walking along the side of the road in Yolo County, California, about 150 miles from Redding, and alerted authorities. Shasta County Sheriff Tom Pacinko told people at the time she was able to walk to a nearby church, but nobody was there at 4:30 in the morning. And then she walked back and was able to flag down a motorist near Interstate 5 and Yolo County Road 17. So this was dangerous even for a hoax. You're trying to pretend you're coming back, the captors will let you go. She could have been kidnapped, if you get my drift. She could have been actually kidnapped trying to get back home from a pretend kidnap. You're out in the middle of nowhere at 4 something in the morning. Stay woke. Wouldn't that be ironic that the woman who exacted a kidnapping tries to make her way back home to flag down a motorist to get help to only actually get kidnapped for real? Imagine that. Just imagine that. Sheriff Pacinko added that Sherri had been beaten, hospitalized for her injuries. Keith's first reunion with Sherri was in the hospital. He said in a statement obtained by People, "My first sight was my wife in a hospital bed, her face covered in bruises ranging from yellow to black because of her repeated beatings. The bridge of her nose broken. She has been branded, and I could feel the rise of her scabs under my skin." Keith, who passed a polygraph test in the case, said that Sherri only weighed 87 pounds when she was found, and that her long blonde hair had been cut short. So what you have to ask yourself is, who cut her hair? Did she cut her own hair? Well, she branded herself, burned herself. I think she had a little help from that guy helping her tie her up and all this type of nonsense for these bruises and things. 87 pounds. So when you telling me those days you were gone, you didn't eat anything? 3 weeks, you didn't eat nothing? She's always been a small person, as you can see in her physique, older pictures. But still, 87 pounds is still small for an adult person. Or was it to add to the ruse, of course, for when she popped back up? Very interesting. Sherri told the police she was abducted at gunpoint by 2 Hispanic women in a dark SUV and that the women tortured her, branded her skin. Sherri alleged that the women held her hostage and chained in the bedroom for weeks until one of the women released her with a chain around her waist and a zip tie on her wrist and hose clamps around her ankles. Pacinko said that investigators didn't get much information from Sherri at first, but that it wasn't necessarily unusual for the situation. We don't have any reason not to believe her. She's abducted, held captive for 3 weeks, and then released, he explained. Traumatized from experience, and then, of course, very emotional about being released, and then being reunited with her husband. Sometimes people who have been in a traumatic event, their mind shields from some of the trauma, so they do have limited recollection. And also, if you try to push to get some of those details, people can shut down and not want to re-experience or try to recall some of those bad memories. Well, in her case, it's all made up. So she's just going with the flow. And I do believe that is how they came to realize Sherri was lying because of her injuries, alleged injuries, no injuries to certain places on her body, ankle, whatever, didn't match the version she gave of being hurt, hurting her foot, so on and so forth. What happened to her, Miss Sherri? October 2017, nearly a year after Sherri's disappearance, authorities revealed that both male-female DNA was found on Sherri's clothing after her escape that neither matched anyone in their databases, nor did it match her husband, Keith. At the time, investigators said the DNA may have been from acquaintance of Sherri's captors who owned the clothing. Police also told people that Sherri had been in an online and texting relationship with a man from Michigan for several months leading up to her alleged abduction, and that the man was an acquaintance from her past. The Michigan man visited California at the time of her alleged abduction, authorities noted, but had been to Redding and wasn't believed to be involved with the kidnapping. Investigators also noted there was at least one inconsistency between Sherri's recounting of the events and the evidence presented, which I just mentioned to you all. She said she cut her foot in an altercation with one of her captors, but she had no injury matching the description when she was hospitalized. At the time, authorities claimed that they had no reason to believe Sherri was lying, attributing her foggy memory to trauma. Police had a breakthrough in the case March 2020 when they matched the DNA on Sherri to a relative of one of her ex-boyfriends. That June, they compared it with DNA from a bottle of green tea found outside of her ex's apartment. It was a match. August 2020, police questioned Sherri's ex-boyfriend, James Reyes. Reyes told authorities that Sherri was hiding out with him in Costa Mesa, California, from Keith, who she had alleged was sexually and physically abusive, which Keith later denied in an interview with Good Morning America. I played you that content the other day. Reyes told authorities that he and Sherri had been communicating with prepaid cell phones, SF Gate reported, and that Sherri harmed herself to create her own injuries. So here's the guy, tracked through DNA, that he hid her out of his house. I brought you content a few years ago pertaining to there was allegedly no touchy-feely from him to her. He was wanting more from her. She allegedly was just using him to hide out. She's a manipulator. She's a schemer. She's a grifter. She's a grinder. This is what she is. She's a sociopath. Okay? This is Sherri Papini. Once again, he says she harmed herself to create her own injuries. Sherri's mother filed a police report in 2003 accusing Sherri for doing the same and blaming her for it in 2003. Now, mind you, this is years before 2003 up until 16. So you're talking about 13 years. She's implicated in the same debacle with her mother, her own mother. So did she have a good relationship with her mother? Obviously not. So this is why I talked about this the other day. I think it was yesterday. You have to go into the belly of the beast to find out what type of life a person has, because lying leads to more trauma. I just said this yesterday. You don't wake up and start lying, especially this type of lying. This is not little kid eating cookies, has chocolate around his mouth, and mommy says, hey, have you been in a cookie jar? And the child says, no, I have had no cookies, mommy. Are you sure? I'm positive, no cookies. Well, you have chocolate around your mouth, crumbs around your mouth. Are you sure? It's not the same. Let's talk about a grown-ass woman with children and a husband bringing forward allegations of abuse by the husband, sexual, physical, and she's somebody's parents. Now we go back in history to hear she's done this with her own mother. Her parents reportedly had also accused her of burglary, making unauthorized withdrawals from their checking accounts. Reyes also said she was deliberately trying to lose weight while they were together and that he helped her create some of her injuries, though he never directly laid a hand on her in a harmful way. She left her home on Thanksgiving morning, he said, because the supermom missed her kids. Who cares? Who cares about her missing her kids? You left your husband for a reason. You exacted his hopes for a reason, some sick reason. Oh, but now you miss your children. You want to go back. This is not somebody that needs to be in the company of children. March 3rd, 2022, more than 5 years after her alleged abduction, police arrested Sherri at her children's piano lesson for faking her kidnapping. She was charged with making false statements to a federal law enforcement officer engaging in mail fraud, the latter stemming from the $30,000 she received from the California Victims Compensation Board. And I brought you that information yesterday. Her sentence. April 2022, weeks after her arrest, Sherri pleaded guilty to one count, each of lying to a federal officer, mail fraud. She said in a statement through her attorney that she was deeply ashamed of what she did, adding, I am so sorry for the pain I've caused my family, my friends, all of the people who needlessly suffered because of my story, those who work so hard to try to help me. I will work the rest of my life to make amends for what I have done, quote unquote. Will you make an amends? How can you make an amends? You owe a lot of money to the state of California. We're going to get down to that as well. I guess this is where the new boyfriend comes in. Sir, you're going to be a broke ass trying to remedy what this woman has done or rectify what Sherri Papini has done. You are a fool. You are utter fool. An utter fool for dealing with this woman. Sherri's hoax cost California Victims Compensation Board more than $30,000 for her ambulance ride, therapy visits after her false abduction. The fake kidnapping also cost the United States Social Security Administration more than $127,000. The Shasta County Sheriff's Office, $148,866. The FBI, $2,558. September 2022, Sherri was sentenced to 18 months for prison hoax in order to pay back more than $300,000 in restitution for government funds expended on her after her self-inflicted disappearance. It was 10 months more than what even the prosecution recommended. Okay. U.S. District Judge William B. Shub called Sherri a manipulator during her sentencing hearing. People don't like to be conned, Shub said. And I don't believe those people who were deceived would believe that 1 month or 8 months is sufficient. Shub added that his goal was to deter other would-be hoaxers from doing the same, expecting leniency. If I get away with it, I'll get $49,000. If I don't get away with it, I'll spend 1 month or 8 months, Shub noted. We have to send a message that crime doesn't pay. Sherri Papini'S husband and the children, where are they now? After Sherri's arrest, Keith told police he was blindsided and in shock. The fact that she faked her own disappearance. April 2022, Keith filed for divorce from Sherri, requesting full custody of his and Sherri's son and daughter because of the trauma she inflicted on the family. I wish to make it clear that my goal is to provide a loving, safe, stable environment for his and Sherri's children, and I believe the requested orders are consistent with that goal in the best interests of the children, Keith told People in a statement. I do not want to say anything in the pleadings connected to this matter that would inflame the situation or attract immediate attention. Well, somebody should learn from this. Shut your mouth. We're not calling any names up here, but some of you might need to learn sometimes it's best to just be quiet. And definitely don't come to YouTube. Thank you, Keith, for not coming to YouTube. Amen. Keith was awarded full custody, though Sherri now has visitation. She has supervised visitation. Let me throw that in there. They're very happy kids, Keith told People of Tyler and Violet 2024, who are now 11 and 9. A lot of their childhood years were, in my opinion, stolen from them. So my biggest goal is giving them a happy, healthy life, surrounding them with loving people. Sherri was released from prison in August 2023, transferred to a residential reentry facility in Sacramento County, California. She left the home that October, 8 months early, right there, mistake, and remains on supervised release until late 2026. In March of 2024, the U.S. Attorney's Office filed a writ of garnishment against Sherri, claiming that she owed more than $300,000 in restitution from the case, $292.93, plus a 10% litigation surcharge of $30,929, bringing her grand total to $221.23. Upon information to believe, debtor Papini has a substantial non-exempt interest in property that is in the possession, custody, or control of the garnishing law firm, the writ reads in part. While Sherri hasn't paid the sum yet, her lawyer said she intends to do so when she can, according to her criminal defense attorney. Sherri Papini appreciates the significance of her financial obligations to the court and to the government and will continue to meet said obligations as she has promised. Her lawyer, William Portanova, told People in a statement, nothing has changed. Prosecutors also filed a writ of garnishment against the law firm representing Sherri on her divorce from Keith. As of November 2023, they were reportedly still fighting in court over dividing their assets in their divorce. Keith told People in 2024 that he and Sherri have not spoken outside of court or mediation. I don't make contact with her at all, and I don't even allow it, he said. She's tried, I just can't. That is her power, her voice, her manipulation, quote unquote. In addition to scheduled visitation with the children, Keith also told People that Tyler and Violet speak with Sherri over the phone. Sherri lives in Northern California, and notes from a visitation supervisor obtained. The record searchlight indicate that she's writing a book. Keith also told Good Morning America in June 2024 that Sherri has a new boyfriend, though his identity hasn't been revealed. People.com is the source. So she has supervised visits with her children. She has a new boyfriend. She's allegedly writing a book. More damn nonsense by a fool and a clown. How is she going to pay back $300,000+? I'm assuming the new boyfriend will help her. So let's get down to who the new boyfriend is. Thank you for joining me. Welcome to the Vault Excel. I'm going to skim over this article just to get down to the nitty gritty. As it has been reported, they're still trying to divide up assets. Keith and Sherri finalize everything, and she gets supervised visits with her children. According to a June 2024 report in the Daily Mail, Sherri is living in a 4-bedroom home in Orland, California, paid for by her boyfriend, a widower by the name of Sean Hibden. As of the time of this writing, Papini gets supervised visits with her children that are not to exceed 1 hour per the record searchlight. But her goal is to bring the kids to her new home to live with her. Who is Sean Hibden, Sherri's boyfriend? Trust the Daily Mail to deliver on paparazzi-style photos of Papini with Hibden kissing outside of a Starbucks in Orlando in June 2024. The 41-year-old Papini and 49-year-old Hibden arrived separately from her most recent court date regarding custody for 2 children. So let's go there. Did you get permission to go to Orlando? Because Orlando's not in California, Sherri. So I would assume if you got out of this facility early, you would need permission to go out of town. Just asking. Okay. They say that the two went to the courthouse separate. So I guess he didn't want to draw a lot of attention to himself at the courthouse with her. How convenient. In September of 2021, Hibden's wife, Brittany, unexpectedly passed away, leaving him and their 2 sons devastated. A source told the outlet that Papini and Hibden's relationship started before Papini went to prison in September of 2022. So if you're curious, her husband filed divorce from her in about April of 2022. And somehow she's gotten herself tangled up with this new guy before getting her prison sentence. It goes to show you she doesn't waste any time getting with a new man. Pay attention. She was talking to one man before the hoax. Then she got with the ex-boyfriend to help her with a hoax. Is everyone paying attention? Talking to one man online months before the hoax. She gets with the Reds guy to help her with the hoax. She comes back, plays around with the husband. He gets rid of her. And then poof, she's already got another man before she even gets her prison sentence. She's a busy bee. But she's a grifter. She's a grinder. She's a manipulator. And this is what manipulators do. They throw out the web to ensnare people. And sadly, people are walking into the web with blinders on, and poof, voila, they're wrapped up. They're wrapped up. What happened to this man's wife? Mr. Hibden, what happened to your wife? How did your wife die? Because I'm very curious to that. How did your wife pass away in September of 2021? 1 year later, same month, Papini goes to jail, prison, and she's already wrapped up with you. I'm very curious to that. Records obtained by the Daily Mail show that Hibden purchased her 4-bedroom house under LLC name 3310 Properties. Hibden, who owns a car dealership, bought the $755,000 house that Papini pays $500 a month for to use as a rental property. Okay. Interesting. In a previous court filing, Papini claimed she was broke and attempted to force Keith to pay her $30,000 in legal fees. By all accounts, she's seemingly doing a lot of work to keep her assets a secret, including not driving a brand new Jeep SUV to court, to and from the courthouse. It says, including not driving a brand new Jeep SUV. So you're saying she don't drive the car there. Very interesting. Condolences to the family of Donald Sutherland. He has passed away. For those of you who are curious to that information. Distractify.com is the source of this information pertaining to Miss Papini. Wow, 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 what a mess. What a mess. So she's in a house. She wants to get custody of her children, but I don't think a judge will give her custody. And everyone knows that if you marry in the state of California, it is community property, so both will have to divide up the assets equally. So there's no need of her trying to hide what she has, because divorce is public information, and the courts will try to recoup any money that you stole or that was given to you, your husband at the time, the victim's fund. They want all that money back. FBI, their little $2,000+ everybody wants their money back. Sheriff's Department, searching, all the work they did, using labs for DNA testing, they want all that money back. Boots on the ground, they want it back, and they have every right to ask for it back. So this guy who's dating her, Mr. Hibden, you are a fool. What you want with Sherri, I don't know. Perhaps you want to marry her so she can mysteriously die in her sleep. Yeah, I said that. Because I'd like to know what happened to the wife of the 2 children you have. Where is that wife? I mean, how did she die? Suddenly she died. That don't even sound good to Queen. Now, forgive me if she passed away of cancer. She had a tumor. Please say so. She died of cancer. Okay, cool. Mysterious circumstances, I'm leery. Because what you have to ask yourself is the obvious. Wife or no wife? Dead wife or no dead wife? What the hell does he want with Sherri? And he has children. So you want to bring this thing around your children? Help me understand, because I'm confused. Sir, what do you want with Sherri? Excuse me, what do you want with Sherri Papini? I'm confused. What the hell do you want with her? And as I brought you commentary from Keith, the ex-husband, he doesn't seem like he's in a happy place, because he was asked that question in an interview with ABC News. And he doesn't seem happy. He's probably depressed, still can't believe he was hoodwinked by this woman. But as I told you in the commentary yesterday, I believe Keith knew that he was dealing with a liar. He knew that she was a defrauder. She probably put on tantrums, made up stuff. She probably gaslighted him a lot, but he stayed with her anyway. This is why you have to be careful of the company you keep. You're in a relationship that you see is unhealthy. There are things about the person you don't like. There's things that you're starting to see that are unfavorable. You don't think you can work through them. Get your ass out. Run. See Jane run. See John run. This is where we make our mistakes in life, is holding on to dead weight. Let that person be somebody else's problem. Because I know I've looked back in hindsight and said to myself, thank you, Jesus. Don't miss them, don't want them, don't want to talk to them. Good luck with the next sister, because she's going to need it. And when you're dealing with sociopaths, psychopaths, all you can do is pray for that person if you decide to, and also pray for the person and people who get involved with them, because they're going to need prayer. As we say in the street, you going to need Jesus dealing with this one here. And I was thinking about somebody today. Always got drama, always in something. Every day it's a story, it's a fable. That's a person that don't want anything in life. And yet they'll be the same person to tell you, oh, I stay to myself, I mind my business. Yeah, but you're always in shit. A lot of us can stay to ourselves and still be wrapped up in stuff, because you don't have any, you don't have any jurisdiction over what goes on outside your door, depending on where you live. So certain things, drama can unfold, such as living in a certain neighborhood or apartment complex. You don't have control over those elements. And that could wreak havoc into your own personal existence. So really, as they always say, it's mind over matter. But at some point, everyone can break. The mind is fragile. It's just tissue. It's not steel. It's not aluminum. Now, when you invite the trouble in, such as the people who you keep in company with, people you're hanging around with, that's a totally different ballgame. It's a totally different ballgame. I don't trust Sherri Papini. And Keith needs to try to move forward, divvy up your assets, and move on. You don't talk to her, you don't deal with her, I don't blame you. That's his way of coping with the situation. I think it's the best thing for him to do. Because I think he knows that if he was to talk to her, she would try to weasel her way out of him divorcing her and be with him. I think she's possibly a highly sexual being. I think she gravitates towards sex. I think she equates sex with emotion, attention, because she jumps in relationships with men. And she was doing this while married, talking to one on the internet. Then she exacts this hoax. Then she hooks up with that guy and stays with that ex-boyfriend or whomever while she's playing this hoax out for 3 weeks or so. Sherri is manipulative. As I said, I think she's a highly sexual person. I think she's lonely. I think she's searching for something. And whatever it is, I don't think she's ever going to find it. Because as they always tell us, you got to look within when you're running from shit. So whatever Sherri's running from, it's only going to get worse. That's my opinion. And as you heard, this fraud with her own mother and father, stealing their money. She obviously broke into her house, took money fraudulent out their bank account. Sherri is devious. But this is what I keep trying to tell people about people like this. It's stepping stones. They don't wake up overnight being these type of people. You don't wake up and start lying. And lying leads to other things. If you don't think it won't, you are blind. Lying leads to mischief, fraud, thievery, adultery, stealing, connery, fuckery, and even murder. When you look at most murderers, please pay attention. When you look at most murderers, you will see that they were deceptive in their life. They were liars. They were thieves. They were fraudsters, committed fraud. So Sherri Papini is exacting stepping stones. The only thing she hasn't done that we know of is unalive the person. You're talking about stealing from your parents, pretending that they tried to hurt you, filing false reports with police departments. Now you're exacting hoaxes. There ain't nothing left but murder. There's nothing left. Nothing. Prayers to the children. I feel sorry for them. Because who wants a mother like her? Nobody wants a parent like that. Nobody wants a parent like that. Let's go to the Queen's community page where we ask questions about Sherri Papini. And then I will go on to my Rex Heuermann, Victoria Heuermann story. Thank you for joining me. Should Sherri Papini have access to her children? 39 votes. 18% yes, 64% no, 18% not sure. Ginger Snap says yes, but all assets should be supervised. And I replied, it is. Lord have mercy. Once again, please check out Queen's earlier video pertaining to the signs of a man on the down low. And also I brought you commentary pertaining to the murder-suicide in a Georgia jail. Very harrowing story. And also the suspects in the Kansas misfits. They have gone to court and it has not been released how the women died. Okay. Also brought you information about Bishop Lamore Whitehead, who's been sentenced to 9 years in prison. There was also a live stream done yesterday. Please check out that live stream. And I've also done shorts on Bianca Ellis, who unalived a 3-year-old in a parking lot and stabbed the mother, who has currently survived her injuries. Let's go to Victoria. 1 second, everybody. Hello, everybody in the chat. Thank you for joining me. Wasn't trying to ignore anybody, but I had a lot to read. Too much information to read, quite frankly, but it is what it is. And I need to do a short on Sherri as well, the sister of Shannon Gilbert. I need to bring information pertaining to that as well. One second. This is the longest. For some reason, I'm trying to pull up that court TV information. Having a hard time. One second. This is live number 3. Okay. This is uploaded 2 days ago. Court TV. We're gonna chop up this Victoria Heuermann nonsense. What I find interesting about this commentary is the obvious. When Rex Heuermann was arraigned last year, a profile under the name of Victoria Heuermann posted artwork online. So Rex couldn't have done that because he was already inside of a jail. So if I'm going to believe somebody posted this as her, using her name, who would that other person be if Rex is incarcerated and you want to believe he was using his child's name to post salacious material and share salacious material? Why would he want to draw attention to his own house? This man was meticulous and made itemized lists of products, things to buy, to use, the people he stalked. I can't see him being the person that would use his child's name to look at pornographic material and drawings. I don't believe that. Because what you have to tell yourself, if they have proof that somebody logged in under her name while he was in jail, when he first got to jail, more than likely that is Victoria's doing. And the fact that there are no social media accounts pertaining to she and her mother, why not? Why not? You can block people. You can turn off comments. You can erase. What's the problem? Now, some people say, well, Angela, it's expected that, they wouldn't want to be on social media because of what has happened to the father being arrested. They wouldn't want people coming in under their posts saying things. I get that. But the flip side of that is if you also have something to hide pertaining to Rex Heuermann, that's where this would be a problem. Who is Victoria Heuermann? And what is her role in having knowledge of what her father has done inside of that house with street workers? Asa Heuermann, the mother, same thing. The son, same thing. What went on in their house? Conversations. What did they show the children? How did they act? Was there open nudity in the house? See, all these things are relevant. The pictures are baffling. The sharing of pictures, the drawings, reposting of other people's content, it's all the same. So a lot of people are making fucking excuses about these pictures and drawings and reposts. What is it that you don't understand? It doesn't matter if she drew the pictures or not. It doesn't matter if she shared somebody else's post. It doesn't matter if she commented on the post. It is relevant because it's graphic in nature. So 1, why are you following it? 2, why are you sharing it, reposting it? That's the point. That's the point that some dodo birds out here are missing. It just baffles me how ignorant people are. Oh, it's not her. It's not her post. Who gives a fuck? Who cares? Who cares? A drawing belonging to her or Pookie or Bubba. You're engaging. That's what Mr. John Ray has stated. You're engaging in the content. You're sharing the content, reposting the content. You're also drawing a picture of a woman with no arms. Help me understand that. I'll let that sit right there. Please go into the YouTube queue to watch Queen's short from yesterday. And you can see the drawing yourself. The drawing is of a woman sitting down. I didn't see any arms or hands. And that's with glasses on. So why am I drawing a woman with no hands, missing body parts? I'll let that sit right there. Topic number 3, Victoria Huerman. Was she sexually assaulted by her father? That is also in the YouTube queue as a short. Did he molest his daughter? Did he molest any other children? The boy child, which is his stepson. We learned that he's mentally disabled. What is his disability? Is this girl been tainted by an evil father? That's why I titled it The Monster's Daughter. Are we also talking about a baby monster in the making? We also have BTK's daughter putting her 2 cents in, telling people to leave her alone, don't do this to her, those accounts were fake, blah, blah, blah. You need to shut up. You're always meddling and stuff too. I'm sick of you. I don't care for her. I think she's a narcissist. I think she's a sociopath. BTK's daughter. She's always got something to say about something. So her sticking her nose in other people's fucking stories. We're not talking about you, honey. We're not talking about BTK. This is another serial killer. Stop trying to steal all the glory. Yeah, I'm saying this about her. Some people aren't going to like what I have to say about her either. I don't care for her. There's something about her I don't like. Last year, when they were investigating crimes against her father, about her father rather, she puts up a post on her Facebook page. She says, "My team." Oh, I didn't know you were in law enforcement. Oh, you're a detective now? Oh, okay. Something about that rubbed me the wrong way. And when I get that feeling about a person that something's not right, I'm usually not wrong.
I'm sorry? Somebody after me.
This is a 13-year case, so as you saw, we have a great deal of information, evidence, photographs, reports.
This case is a case that we're going to try in a courtroom. The press has convicted my client without seeing a shred of evidence.
She had no idea any of this was going on, or the allegations were even pressed as was a suspect.
The charges in the indictment are just allegations, so this is the first step in the process of proving those allegations.
The case of the so-called Long Island Gilgo Beach serial killer is one that's grabbed headlines from the beginning, and even going back to when, at first, all of these victims were found, and then the case went unsolved, and then there was controversy with the police department, some corruption there, and it took forever. But then the case finally broke, and a new task force was able to arrest this man, who's been charged now with 6 victims. 6 victims: Megan Waterman, Melissa Bartholomew, Amber Costello, Maureen Barnes, Jessica Taylor, and Sandra Castilla. And 2 more just added. And you don't know how many more he's responsible for. So there's still a lot of interest in this defendant in this case. By the way, he and his attorney have denied all these allegations, as has really his family, who doesn't believe that he is capable of this. So they're the ones on the outside, the family of the accused Long Island killer. So there's been a spotlight on them for many reasons. They're the ones closest to the suspect. They were living with this man in a very small home in a very nice community. We understand that there's a Peacock series that's being produced as this case is progressing. That will give us insight down the road, probably more to what they're thinking. And the house that they all lived in may very well be the scene of some of the murders here. So you put all that together, there's a lot of attention on the family. But there's even more attention being put on them now by someone who's been a guest on our show many, many times. And I'm going to speak to them right now. Joining us, the attorney representing the family of victim Shannon Gilbert, who still has not been officially connected to this killer, but is the reason that this case has progressed because of her. John Ray is back with us. John, nice to see you tonight.
He's doing.
So you go on social media, and all of a sudden, John Ray is making people talk again. And this one probably is the most controversial thing that you've talked about so far. And you've been talking about the daughter of the suspected Long Island serial killer. And some folks are upset about it. Some folks are really upset about it. So I wanted to give you an opportunity to explain what you were talking about at your last, I guess, press conference that you had, and what is driving what you're doing now.
Okay, well, to lead off, what I'm saying, first of all, is that with the facts and circumstances that are now known, including the various sites that Victoria was looking at on her computer, and certain other things she said, all put together, this whole thing, she is not outside the circle of suspects involved in some way in this case, and should be looked at with suspicion and should be further investigated. That's all I've said. Now, I say that I know there are a lot of people who are angry. These are the people who they exalt victimhood above all things and don't pay attention to the facts. And that what they're saying is essentially absurd. That is that this girl who stands by her father as we speak, the man who chopped up those girls, who had no regard for them whatsoever, she is somehow not to be spoken about other than as a victim herself, when that's just not the case. So they don't like that. They just want to make her a victim regardless, and so they say all kinds of terrible things about me.
Exactly.
I was on here the other night and screaming and shouting about me the whole time. But I'm not the issue. The facts are and the circumstances are the issue.
So what are
we discovered?
if you can go through some of the things that you and give us like what you found and how it was found and how this is now part of this case or investigation from your perspective.
Okay, well, I assembled a group of people who are really good at diving deep down into the computer, into these programs and seeing what was there. I don't have that capacity nor that skill, so they do it. And what we did, we discovered that Victoria, contrary to the way she's posed her image so far on the in the public, has been looking at certain really awful, ferocious sites containing some of the worst things that humankind can conceive. And these sites they're on a thing called Galira, and this I don't know all the details as to if you ask me to explain how Galira works and so forth. They show deviant art. They show some of the worst art you can imagine, and words that accompany that art. And I published both of them to the public via my press conference. She's looking at cannibalism. She's looking at people being chopped up, bodies being hacked to pieces. She's looking at people disemboweling women. She's looking at all kinds of things that are what her father appears to have done. That's what she's looking at, and she's looking at these things going back for years before we knew that this man was a killer. So she's no doubt raised as a little girl since kindergarten when the first murder we know of occurred, up through the years. She is, and in that sense, she's a victim of her family in raising her in this disgraceful, disgusting situation that no human can tolerate. That's an atrocity. But once you say that, she's not the same as the victims who were chopped up, who are dead, and who suffered through torture. And she's not the victims of the families who see their little baby and their sister dismembered and left to die like that. She is not that kind of a victim. She stands with the man who did this as we speak. And here's some of the things that she said on July 14th, 2023, when Rex Human was first arraigned. She's on the computer, and there's those who say, "Oh, you don't know if that's really true. That's her. It could be one of these trolls. It could be a troll." But when you connect the dots, it sure doesn't sound like it's a troll. And here's what she said: "Quote, Dad, rate my art." Unquote. She's counts the.
They're blocking out things that John is saying because he's using a prolific language. But I don't think this is a random stranger who posted these things, because I don't know if these are different posts done right on the day of the arraignment. But obviously she's bothered. I don't think this is a stranger who put these posts up the day that Rex was arraigned. A person would have had to go Google his name, Google his children's name, wife's name, and just go run to social media to put up these posts and share these posts of graphic material. It's not saying we don't have wackos who wouldn't do it, Johnny on the spot, but I think it would be a couple of days to weeks where people would start doing that type of hacking and stealing profile names and things like that. I believe this is Victoria. That's my personal opinion.
And she's not concerned about that. She'd rather have her art rated at the moment.
Right.
And then she signs herself. The name she uses is Lisk Daughter, Lisk daughter.
Yes. Why is everybody using that?
She's proud of the fact that she's the daughter of the Lisk, and she's admitting, if you understand it, that he's the killer. Lisk stands for Long Island Serial Killer. So.
I see, Long Island. Okay.
Little victim,
sorry.
Sad victim. It's sad what happened to her, but she herself is not developed in that way, and she's never broken with her parents like most of the rest of the world.
Yeah, this is not a stranger doing this.
Now,
it's not a stranger.
John, I have to put out to our audience, number one, we haven't independently investigated any of this. We are reporting what you are investigating and the allegations that you are making tonight. What I wanted you to do, though, we just have a moment here, because you did mention that we had guests on last time you were on. I want to play one of the things that Bob Macedonio did say. This is the attorney for the accused killer's wife, and give you an opportunity to respond to what he said.
The more TV time you give him, the more he comes up with. This is the Rex Human is the third suspect that John Ray is accused of committing these crimes. His one and only client, Shannon Gilbert, is not part of the Gilgo Beach homicide victims. It was an accidental death ruled by the Suffolk County Homicide Squad over and over and over again. He's not accepting that. The task force that Ray Tierney has put together is exceptional. The work they're doing is exceptional. They've dismissed John Ray as almost irrelevant in this act. So he had his press conference with Rodney Harrison, the former police commissioner. The DA gave a scathing response to that. We have to stop giving him so much airtime. I know it's made good for TV, but he's becoming reckless. He wants my client to sue him.
Okay.
Let's intervene there. Sue John Ray for what? Because if it can be found that she posted these things to social media, you're gonna sue John Ray for what? The truth? That you posted these things to social media? You all don't find it funny we're a week later and there has been no response by Victoria and her mother pertaining to the allegations of the posts and the resharing and the pictures, the nasty pictures? Women hanging from a rafter naked, missing legs and arms? Help me understand. A woman drawn, sitting, missing hands, arms. One woman cut up in the middle with a guy with glasses on looking back with a knife and a mask over his face, which some people believe that's Rex Heuermann in the drawing. I'm supposed to believe what? Some stranger drew all of this stuff. Some stranger drew all of this stuff as soon as Rex was arrested. Gore whore. Who's that? Oh, that's a stranger too. Reposted and sharing other people's graphic material. That's a stranger. These drawings belong to somebody else as well. So let's go into belly of the beast. Victoria Heuermann, can you draw or not? Are you an artist or not? Will we go in your house and find drawings that you have drawn similar to what was posted and reshared online? Number one. Will there be traces to show you followed these different people, sites, commented, shared your post, other people's posts. People may not like what John Ray has done by having a press conference. He could have easily just went to the news and said, this is what was found. The dates, the time. That's what he should have done, was brought the dates. Because that's what's going to be relevant to tie Victoria Heuermann to the post. And we have people who can dig deep and trace it, such as the FBI. So just because these fancy lawyers are sitting up here saying they've been vetted, they're not involved in the crimes, it doesn't matter. There's still something sinister brewed in that little bitty box over there in Long Island. And we don't know what went on in that house besides women being tortured in a basement, tortured in a room, while Mommy Dearest was gone with her children. Who's to say Mommy Dearest didn't participate? Mommy knew about the women. Mommy was used to go get the women. We have seen this happen. Killers using their girlfriends and wives to lure victims, kidnap little girls from bus stops. Stop this bullshit. Now we have 2 women hairs on 2 separate victims at 2 separate times. Checkmate. I'm woke. So you can make up all these excuses about cross-contamination, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but it still looks bad. How about that? 2 separate women hairs found on 2 dead women. Ding, ding, ding. Oh, they didn't do anything. They didn't help. I don't know what they did. I don't live in Long Island. I don't live in that nasty-ass house either. And it needs to be burned down. Tear that fucking house all the way down. Go in every crevice, every wall in this nonsense and tear that fucking house down to the ground, to the stop. And Asa, also whatever her name is, she go buy her a place to live. Hey, do like Sherri Papini. Go paint your face, put some lipstick on, go put your tight mini skirt on, and go get you some DICK out here in the street and get you a new fucking house. Yeah, I said that. I'm on one now. Sherri Papini can do it. Asa, she can do it. So I'm going to say, oh, Queen, that's cruel what you're saying. Who cares? Go put on a mini skirt, put your hair up, go get you some fake eyelashes, you and your fucking kid, and go find you a man, put you in a new house on Long Island. You just got money from a documentary. Your stupid ass gives the money to your kids. You should have went and bought your fucking house. You should have bought a fucking condo, your dumb ass. Now you got these stupid ass lawyers sitting up here acting like Rex Heuermann has been misidentified as a serial killer. This is all a misunderstanding. Well, tell that to those dead people. Oh, you can't tell them because they're dead. Stop this bullshit.
Don, your response to the accusations from Bob.
Well, this is a public case, these are public cases. I'm on TV because I have information and I represent victims. I represent not only Shannon Gilbert's family, but I represent other victims who have escaped Rex Heuermann, who were taunted and chased by him and managed to survive. For long months, I represented the Jessica Taylor family. So this, the idea that I'm on TV putting out what should be put out, that's what you do when you have a case like this. Just like Mr. Macedonio and Mr. Matev are paid hundreds of thousands of dollars by Peacock to represent their clients.
Say that.
Zero. I'm doing this for a good cause.
Say that.
They're doing it for the money. And
exactly.
Indeed, when we speak about Victoria, she gave up any chance, and I said this at my press conference, of saying that we should consider her as a hapless victim when she took all that money from Peacock to be followed around and to have her persona exposed as she wants it to be. Look at the picture that she first had taken of her when she first met the press. She's standing there in little schoolgirl clothes with a little schoolgirl bag on it and a nice little bun on her hair.
Exactly.
But look at the other Victoria, who she herself published, that I published.
Exactly.
She's gothic. There's nothing wrong per se with being gothic, but don't come and try to fool the public as to what you are, like this little innocent schoolgirl. She wasn't, and she never was.
I'm glad he's talking about the appearance because that's exactly what I said last week in a live stream. The mother frumpy looking, the daughter frumpy looking, very weird for a young girl to be this frumpy looking, long ass sweaters and long ass Little House on the Prairie skirts in fucking hot ass weather. It's hot in New York in July. Come on, let's stop this bullshit. Let's just stop this nonsense. And I agree with what he's saying, because you can portray any image you want in a picture, in a press conference. That does not mean that's the real you. It's just like when you commit a crime and you go to court and you've been afforded the opportunity to bond out. Your lawyer will tell you how they want you to come to court and what they want you to wear, how they want you to look as far as your makeup, your hair. So you're walking around with black lipstick, black fingernails, heavy ass eyeliner. When it's time to go to court, they do not want you coming into court looking like that. Hell no, you're not coming here with no studded choker on your neck, ring, nose rings and shit, earrings all up to your earlobe, up to your hairline. No, thank you. Wear a little set of pearls. Everybody knows the game. No heavy jewelry. Pantyhose, please, ladies. Full undergarments, ladies, under your clothes. It's a game. And you know this from watching true crime court TV for years. The seductress who wears the pretty eyelashes and fingernails, heavy lipstick. When she goes to court for murder, that ain't how she's walking into court. Exactly. Dressed respectively. So this is probably their look anyway, dumpy, frumpy. But the other side of this dumpy, frumpy, Little House on the Prairie bullshit is some gothic, disturbed, demented demon seed. And I believe these are her sharing repost drawings. Prove it. Prove that it ain't her. That's how I feel. You sit up and talking all this shit to court TV. Prove it ain't her. Prove it's not her post. And then we can move on. And the fact she hasn't spoken, mommy hasn't spoken. Oh, that's right, as Mr. John said. They're using you highfalutin ass lawyers. Mommy's paid all this money to use you all as attorneys. What do you need an attorney for? You didn't commit any crimes. I thought all that was strange last year. Hiring these high-ass attorneys and shit. For what? All you need a lawyer for is to divorce your husband. Oh, Peacock. Peacock following you around. But yet when the news reporters were out there, oh yeah, I'm getting ready to go there now. When the news reporters out there, she's down there trying to cuss them out to get the fuck off her property. But now you can let Peacock follow you around your frumpy ass life on Long Island. Where is the camera people going to stand and film you in that nasty ass sex dungeon you got going on over there? Oh, please don't mind the boxes if you can get in. Sitting in there sweating to death with a fucking movie camera, filming these frumpy ass people who probably know a whole lot more about these dead women and that dead guy out there. And rather Shannon Gilbert died by accident, she drowned in the swamp. Don't you find it strange? She allegedly died mysteriously in a swamp, but her death led to the bodies of the other women. I'll let that sit right there.
So here's what she also said. When she's the list daughter and she puts out her art, think about this. On the day her father is accused of this atrocious murder of 3 girls that at the time, her thought is, check out my art. That's her thought.
Exactly.
She scrubbed her. If she's innocent, why did she run right out and hire a lawyer?
Exactly.
She didn't need a lawyer at that point.
Exactly.
Before I even was heard on it.
Exactly.
And why did she scrub down all her social media? You do that if you have nothing to hide?
John,
Something's really up here.
we're out of time for tonight, but we appreciate you coming on. We wanted to understand these accusations that you were making, and
That's very important information, whether people want to hear it or not. And if you don't want to hear it, that means there's something wrong with you. Then you don't really want the truth to what went on in Rex Heuermann's life. That's including his family, his children, associates, work buddies. Everybody is a part of the story that had any dealings with Rex Heuermann. That's just life. That's just life. And as John is saying, You have been paid by Peacock a lot of money to do a documentary. But yet, before you signed off on the documentary, you didn't even want people out there on the front lawn, whatever, filming you, taking pictures. Well, you know they're going to take pictures because your husband's been linked to dead women. So is it invasion of privacy? Of course it is. But there's something wrong with these people. And when you look at these photographs of the daughter frowning with her hair up in a bun, she's got this snarl look where the camera catches her. I think there's more to it than just, oh, you're bothering us, you're harassing us, you've got the wrong guy. There's something sinister with these people in this house. Mommy, dearest, daughter, dearest. Don't know about the son, stepson. But there are ugly pictures of Victoria from last year where she's snarling every fucking photograph. There's only one picture of her smiling, and that's of her, Asa, and the son sitting on the front porch. Other than that, it's always a snarl. Little evil ass. Like somebody would say, what the fuck are you mad at? You're not dead. You're not tortured. So what are you frowning for? What's your malfunction?
And, the motivation behind it. We appreciate your time. We'll speak again, I'm sure, as this case continues to develop. When we come back, we'll hear from the other side. Victoria's attorney, investment temp, who's been with us many times on this, will join us to give his response, his position, and explain.
And all this long sleeve scarves wearing. There's something weird with this family. This one picture you'll see at Court TV where they're long sleeve dusters, jackets, scarves around their neck, and it's fucking hot outside. Did Rex not want the women to show their bodies? Because a lot of men will act this way. They want the wives to wear long skirts and long sleeve shirts, don't show their boobs, this, that, and the other, don't show their figure, but they don't mind going out to the street picking up street women. You all better pay attention because Queen is on the money. I've heard about people like this. The men. I've heard of men like this. Okay? Want you to wear frumpy clothes. Don't cut your hair. Wear your hair long. The Bible says women should not cut thy hair. No makeup. Is anybody following the Queen? Don't wear any makeup. Don't wear form-fitting clothes. Open-toe shoes, toenails polished. Because when you look at the way she looked, Asa, versus an older picture of her where they were out on the town somewhere and she had makeup on, her hair was done, it's like night and day. And then they keep throwing this stuff out about her having cancer, this, that, and the other. Okay, you still can walk around and act like you care about your appearance. Who sleeps outside on a front fucking porch while the FBI is raiding their house? Who does this? I don't know anybody that does this. So they had nowhere to go. And I'm going to keep riding this horse. You had nowhere to go to take your grown-ass kids when they were raiding your house last summer. But, oh, poof, voila, when the women were being murdered, you had somewhere to go. You all better pay attention because this is bullshit.
Statements with Julie Grant, mornings at 8/7 Central on Court TV.
How are you holding up? I know you can't talk about the case. How are you holding up?
What do you see? Right? It is what it is.
How's your children doing?
The accused Long
Something
Island
wrong
serial
with her.
killer, that's his wife who was outside his home, Matt Johnson.
When the reporter was asking her how she was doing, she says, what you see, it is what it is. There's something aloof in that comment. There's something off. Then he asks, how are the children doing? I'm not going to indulge in that. It's like she's 500 miles out to sea while this reporter is asking her questions. Now, one could say, well, Queen, she's distraught. She's upset. She don't know what to think. She's embarrassed. She may think he has done these things, but she can't let us know she knows. what he's been doing, not doing, confused, blah, blah, blah. There's still something off with her appearance, the daughter's appearance at that time. It's something off. And I don't think I'm wrong. There's something off with this family. And some of you have made comments. I've seen 2 comments about open books in the house of some type of nudity. I never heard anything from the news about it, so I don't know. This is why I asked the question, what was going on in the house? What was the protocol in the house? How did Rex Heuermann run the house? We learned he's a dominant figure. He basically had all women working in his office, or he had quite a few women working. They were petite. That's how he liked them. That's what he's attracted to. So old habits die hard. He's killing petite women. He's got some women petite in the office working. Stay woke. Then you go home, the wife and the daughter are frumpy looking. The daughter could have been a young lady that liked makeup, eyelashes, but she's not. The wife could have been the type that liked eyelashes, makeup, but she's not. Stay woke. I'm woke. He's a dominant man, and I think he did not want the women in the house walking around looking like what he would go out and chase in the street. Checkmate.
Was there when the story was all breaking about the arrest. He has 2 children, and now here to respond to the allegations made by John Ray, the attorney representing the children of the accused killer. Ves Midteb is back with us. Ves, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Do you want to just respond, or do you want me to give you specific things to respond to? Because I want to give you an opportunity to give you and your client's side of everything that's going on here.
Well, thank you. I think the allegations are just that. They're delusional, they're deranged, and what's alleged without evidence should also be discounted without evidence. And unfortunately, as I said, it's been widely quoted, I mean, this is nothing more than a continued frivolous sideshow by someone with no clients involved in this case. His one and only client was ruled to be a suicide after his press conference last week. I think Sherri Gilbert, the last surviving sister, was on social media distancing herself entirely, saying she did not agree with anything that he was saying. She had no knowledge of the press conference, that, she was done with that attorney and his firm. So again, what do we have here? We have, all these.
So basically this lawyer's talking bad about John, his press conference. He shouldn't have done this. Some people feel like it was erroneous behavior on the part of Mr. Ray. He was representing the family of Ms. Gilbert. He says, now he's saying that Sherri did not like the fact of what he has done. He didn't get her permission. He did say he reached out to her, but he didn't get a response. Is that true? If he called you, why didn't you respond? Why didn't you return the call? Don't know if this is true or not. And basically he's saying that Mr. Ray is representing someone who's not even a Gilgo Beach murder victim. Kind of a slap in the face, but nonetheless, we're not going to count her out, sir, because she's the reason these other women were discovered. So we're never going to count Shannon Gilbert out, whether she's ever linked to Mr. Heuermann or not. Checkmate. She's the reason for the season. She's the icing on the cake, sir. She's a dead woman, sir. And she deserves some fucking respect. So you discount John Ray's opinions, this new revelation of social media posts by an alleged Victoria, Shannon Gilbert matters, whether you want to loop her, link her into these other murders or not. Without Shannon Gilbert, sir, these other bodies would probably never been found because they had a dicey, fraudulent sheriff's department, police department running the initial investigation into Shannon Gilbert's death. And because the sheriff, chief, or whoever was into dirty business with prostitutes, that's the reason why her case was put on the back burner, sir. So you need to check yourself before you get up here on fucking court TV acting like your shit don't stink. Very disrespectful. Very disrespectful.
Things that he's come up with, the circle of suspicion. Well, the DA deals with the rhombus of evidence, and that evidence, according to the district attorney's office, has explicitly excluded both of my clients as well as Miss Ellerup. And we could say that until we're blue in the face, but apparently it falls on some people's deaf ears, because people that listen to this carnival sideshow, they buy it. And there's been money donated to the GoFundMe that I'm being told now has happened as a result of this. And again, you have zero evidence of any of this. You just heard, I think you just heard a remark about certain art or what have you. I'll say this. Obviously, Victoria is interested in art. She was an art aficionado. She took art classes.
She's an art aficionado. She took art classes. That's all the Queen wanted to hear. So what are the odds some random stranger is glued to his computer or her, hear that Rex Heuermann was arrested, arraigned, and start digging up stuff on his daughter and pretends to be the daughter on social media, posting and sharing filth and pretending to love salacious art? Is that what you're trying to tell us, sir? Is that what you're telling the public? Somebody pretended to be Victoria Heuermann while her daddy just got arrested. Okay.
She, was two of her favorite artists are Francis Bacon and Hieronymus Bosch, who, of course, his famous painting is the triptych, The Garden of Earthly Delights. And Francis Bacon, if you read anything about him, he dealt in what was called the brutality of fact. And some of his art deals with the exact same things that that he talks about. But of course, these are two of the most famous artists that ever lived. They're revered. They're studied by art historians. So, to link those somehow is completely reckless. It's defamatory. It's irresponsible. I could go on and on and on, but suffice it to say that nothing of what he has said has any basis in fact whatsoever. If there was any basis in fact, the district attorney, the law enforcement task force that's been tasked with this, not conspirators on the internet, amateur sleuths, cosplaying investigators, people that have no idea what's going on, except for apparently they are all unified by this, almost otherworldly desire to get on TV and get on Reddit and social media and make unfounded claims with no consequence. That's all you have here. So I'm chagrined that I'm even here to respond to this, but that's the response, which is there is no response necessary because it is a carnival sideshow.
And you talk about social media, the explosion on social media is where the groundswell is. Can you give us an idea of what Victoria's day-to-day life is like right now?
Yeah. What is it like?
Well, once again, she's squarely in the crosshairs of the media spotlight, and now she's being talked about, as if she was a ritualistic, demonic cannibalizer. That's what was said about her at that press conference. And going back till 2023, almost a year, the same drumbeat has been repeating, with respect to her mother as well, by the same attorney who has alleged that they're all part of a criminal conspiracy. He's actually said that. So these are all, again, defamatory statements. They're defamatory per se. They seem only to be made with the intent of getting a lawsuit brought upon this person. But and of course that would only allow it would further engender his ability to sort of occupy the spotlight. So that's not something that my clients are interested in at this point. But all options are on the table. But as far as her everyday life, it is a hard, scrambled existence. It is sad. You would not, a lot of talk about her not being a victim, but I couldn't possibly disagree more. She has currently no father. She is obviously being made into an internet pariah by this gentleman and his cohorts completely unfairly before an even ounce of actual evidence has been produced. They live in the same, very small, very upturned house that they've lived in the whole time, and their neighbors all know who they are. And I've said this before on the show, you and I would have crumbled a long time ago, and we would have been swept away, because even waking up in the morning is tough enough on an everyday existence, but to wake up in the morning and not to know whether or not the police are going to raid your house again, not to know whether somebody's going to go on TV in a press conference and accuse you of taking part in demonic rituals without any evidence, not to know when and if your father, if he's ever convicted or if he's not convicted, what's the the fallout going to be from that? It's unimaginable. And the zinger about the money that's allegedly been given or the Peacock documentary, I mean, again, that's neither here nor there. That's just, again, it seems to have been made for no other purpose other than to further defame and further impute.
Sir, you need to stop talking because you have benefited from the Peacock documentary. She could not have hired you and paid you on just her looks, she or her daughter. So as John Ray has said, he may have used some descriptions that may be derogatory pertaining to Victoria, but the point is somebody put up the post. So my thing is this. If I was her, Victoria, I think I would be trying to figure out who this mystery person is. If we're going to believe, I'm going to play nice, okay? Let's say it's not Victoria who posted those photos, pictures, whatever, resharing the day that her father was raped. Then who did it? That's all I'm saying. If not her, you don't want to try to find out who did it. See, that's the one thing about this press conference you're doing with Court TV, you're not addressing. We're going to try to get to the bottom of who posted these things pretending to be Victoria. All you're talking about is the allegations coming from John Ray, how it's disrespectful, how he's fallen out with Sherri, the sister of Shannon, blah, 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 blah. Now you don't want to address the Peacock money. Oh, that's neither here nor there. Well, let's be truthful. If it wasn't for Rex getting arrested, Peacock wouldn't have went to her to offer her a documentary. Ding, 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 ding. So stop trying to glaze over Peacock and the documentary and how you all got fucking paid. It's because of Rex that you're all here. How about that? Rex Heuermann is also the reason for the season. His DNA linked to these victims is how she was able to hire you, sir, from money from Peacock. So it's stepping stones once again. One thing begets another. So what is called in the street? Robbing Peter to pay Paul is what you have here. Without Rex, there's no money to be made. Peacock could have found anybody to go knock on the door and say, hey, we want to do a documentary about you and your life. This has been a long-winded story on the horizon. This isn't just some story that just popped up. These women have been dead for years. People have just been waiting for a DNA match. Poof, voila, we got it last year. And you are benefiting from Rex Heuermann's dirty deeds. So don't try to sit up here and act like you're holier than thou. And John Ray is this horrible guy, profiting. As John Ray just said, I don't get any money. They're not paying me nothing. But you've gotten a lump sum. But now what did you just say? Oh, that's neither here nor there, the Peacock payment. Oh, now it's not relevant now. How convenient.
Victoria's character, which again, as far as I'm concerned, it's unimpeachable. That and of Chris, of course, her brother, and then they're under the yoke. Okay, there's a heavy yoke that's draped over both these young adults' shoulders, and that is that all of the evidence is stacked against their father. But it's only that it's in the court of public opinion. There's been no conviction yet, and again, we've maintained that until if there is that. They're going to continue to put one foot in front of the other and keep going down this very dark path, unfortunately for that. But it is no picnic, Vinny. I would not wish this on anybody, and unfortunately, again, by the mere fact that they exist, they've now been easy targets for this attorney, and again for his cadre of internet sleuths and people that hide behind TV screens and avatars and pseudonyms that feel free to tee off on them with no repercussions.
Oh, just like the person who's pretending to be Victoria, that avatar. You should be very careful the words you use, sir, because to me, you're no different than what you're accusing John Ray of being, theatrical for what? Likes and views. Well, I don't know that he has a Facebook page or a YouTube channel. But the point is you've gotten paid a nice lump sum of money from a man who's been accused of murdering women and also been 2 extra charges brought on a month ago. So without Rex Heuermann, sir, you would not have money in your pocket. Let's keep it real. So don't try to act like somebody's out here to get Victoria, because Rex Heuermann is, once again, the reason for the season, the icing on the cake that led to all this nonsense. And I've never heard John Ray say anything derogatory about these people being involved up until this new revelation of these posts and resharing of posts and artwork. Somebody found it, sir. So if you want to get angry with somebody, then why don't you get mad at the person who's allegedly pretending to be Victoria Heuermann? And while you're sitting here trying to act like it possibly isn't her, you know deep down inside, if the FBI wants to further this, they can easily go track her social media posts, her cell phone, seize her phones, iPads, and computers, and find out that that is Victoria Heuermann's actual profile to her devices, Gmail, whatever, Yahoo, linked to these posts. And then will you also be coming back to defend her then if they come back and say, yes, we've linked these posts and sharings to her profile from her phone? Then what? And as you just said, they don't have to defend themselves. They don't have to respond. Why would I respond to something that's possibly true? Let's just say they're true. Why would she respond? Because that's your job. And you're probably hoping for her sake she's not linked directly to these accounts. And so you don't have to bring your ass back to Court TV and say, yeah, well, we did find out she did share these posts and share these drawings. And you just admitted on this live stream she is an art aficionado, your wording, and then you tie her into these other 2 artists who are very revered for their work, but maybe their work may be offensive to other people who don't find them gratifying. So everything's about interpretation. And I like the fact that you keep using these big ass words to describe these 2 artists that she likes. And they're revered in the such and such arena. Well, that's your interpretation. It's not my interpretation.
Ves Mitev, the attorney representing the family of the accused Long Island serial killer. Thank you so much for joining us. Always like to present all perspectives and have an opportunity to respond to what is happening in a large amount on social media. Thanks so much, Ves.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Vinnie Politan with these Heuermann's attorney. He's not talking about a damn thing. Court of public opinion, indeed. I'm just going to say this and I'm going to check out of here. Everyone is entitled to his or her opinion. Anything dealing with the world as far as events, news, it's all about interpretation. It's all about evidentiary material, what you can prove and disprove. As I said earlier, if these posts do not belong to her, why are you not trying to find out who posted them? Because that's the one thing you don't mention in this highfalutin conversation with Vinnie Politan, which I find interesting. You're steady telling us they don't have to respond. This is all foolish and for show by John Ray. He's not taken serious by the police. He's now burned bridges with Sherri Gilbert of one of the victims, the sister of the victim, blah, blah, blah. But the one thing you failed to mention during all of this bullshit, you didn't say, well, we are trying to locate the person who was pretending to be Victoria Heuermann on these posts. So why not? It's not her. Give me a couple of hours, Memo. I'll come on when it's dark 30. I'll try not to go on too late. Give me a couple hours. It's almost 7 o'clock here, Eastern Standard Time. Give me to about 10 o'clock. I'll be going live again. The point is, if I don't believe this is my client's posts, sharing, whatever, I'm going to say that as soon as Vinnie Politan brings me up. Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me. I'd like to start off by saying this information by John Ray is not factual. My client has never shared posts, uploads, or any type of defamatory artwork. You don't say that. You're too busy talking about what John Ray has said and done pertaining to Victoria. But the one thing you don't say is that the information is fraudulent and has been assumed by some mystery person out here in the universe. So why didn't you just say, this account does not belong to Victoria Human? That's all I want to hear. And that's what you don't say. You don't say it belonged to her. You're too busy throwing rocks at what John Ray has said about her being ritualistic. I think he was basically saying the artwork and the sharing and the reposting is demonic. And I'm just going to keep it real, Mr. Lawyer. I don't give a fuck if it's a woman, a man, a child, boy, cat, or dog. I don't understand why anyone would want to look at this type of derogatory material, whether it's animated, a drawing, or an actual picture of a person missing an arm, a leg, a head, a foot, their stomach is cut open, their backside is cut open. What is the point of this type of material? And if you consider this revered material, there's something wrong with you. Anybody who thinks this is revered material, there's something wrong with them. And that's my opinion. So I'm going to say it again, sir. Why aren't you trying to disprove the posts? They're not true, they're not factual. Then who the fuck posted it? See, he's talking around the subject. He's glazed over the peacock money that he's benefiting from a serial killer, alleged serial killer. He's throwing rocks and daggers at John. So what you want us to believe? John in his spare time just scrolling the internet, looking up stuff under Victoria Human's name and profile. Oh, let me see what I can find on her. Not the mother, mind you, who's married to this creep, but let me see what I can find on the daughter. Let me see what I can find on the disabled son. Somebody found this shit. And if he had an investigator that went out and found it, so what? So what? It's out. My thing is this. He can only report back what was found. If it's fraudulent, then prove that it is a mistake. What's the big deal? That's all I'm saying. If your client didn't uphold any of this nonsense, engage with these artists, didn't post, reshare, all you have to do is say, we're trying to get to the bottom of the person who used Victoria's name on the accounts. And that's the end of the conversation. Let's go to my community page to check out the post. And then I will be back on later with live number 4. Thank you for your time. Ooh, a lot of information. Once again, check out my previous lives on the Kansas mom's deaths. The misfits went to court. The unaliving of a cafeteria worker in a prison. She was having a relationship with an inmate. He shot her to death and turned the gun on himself down in Georgia. Here's something I posted 18 hours ago. John Ray said that Victoria posted her artwork asking for critiques on it the same day as Rex Heuermann's arraignment, which means he didn't post it, referring to Rex. This would lead me to believe all other hideous online posts resharing were made by Victoria. 7 comments. The biggest thing it tells me is that Asa had some knowledge that Victoria was exposed. They pretended to be meek and got all those millions of dollars for Peacock. John Ray is right. It is disgusting. It's like the family is spitting in the victims' faces. They are still living in the house. Gross. Who does that? They've received money. It's a game. SJ says, agree. Angry Mimi says, everything about the family is very off. Don't know if the daughter was involved in the murders, but she was obviously exposed to that deviant behavior and influenced by it. I'm a okay says, what if Rex first heard of Victoria's secret when we did Insanity, but it would be interesting. Okay. Somebody else says, just to be neutral, please watch somebody else's channel debunking it was Victoria. I thought it was too until they explained it in depth now. We replied. Somebody says, I can see them portraying Victoria in a bad light to take aim and hurt Rex by speaking of his little girl this way and make him want to talk. I'm definitely not sold on that being Victoria's work or posting. Anyway, well, I say disprove it. And that's the end of the conversation. Just disprove it. Do you think Rex Heuermann posted online under his daughter's name? Yes, 38%. No, 40%. Not sure, 22%. 103 votes. Do you believe that Victoria Heuermann made those hideous posts online? 83% said yes, 6% no, not sure, 10%. So that's very interesting. 38% of you believe that Rex did it. 40% of you said no. But then when you go down to this other question, I asked you, do you think she made the post? And then the vote is backwards. It goes to 83% yes. So different people voting on both polls, kind of contradictory there. Do you think that Rex Heuermann essayed his daughter, Victoria? 64% yes, 14% no, 22% not sure. Wow, wow, wow. Please check out my live stream from yesterday pertaining to the Proudfoots having visitation with Faith. Riley Strain's autopsies revealed. Check out that live stream. Justin Timberlake recently arrested on DUI charges in the Hamptons. Bishop Lamore Whitehead sentenced to 9 years for fraud. Just bringing you the latest updates pertaining to breaking news. Sherri Papini'S husband has spoken to ABC News. Hulu's documentary pertaining to Sherri Papini airs today, if you're interested. My movie of the week is Curtains. It's a 1982 horror film. This is for my horror fans who like vintage movies. So, ladies, your man wants to cross-dress in public but remain in a relationship with you. Do you stay? Yes, 7%. 88% no. 6% not sure. Should we address a biological man whom is now a trans woman? A woman, she or her? Should you address a trans person, trans woman, as a woman, a she, or a her? 32% yes, 53% no, 15% not sure. Please check out my post of houses of people cleaning their homes. This is the season for throwing away old, bring in the new, revamp your space, or go minimum. It's your choice. I always try to show different things on my community page pertaining to breaking news, home decor, organizational videos to get you in the spirit of keeping you a nice, serene environment. Some of you like a lot of stuff, some of you don't. I find it easier to maintain, to have less stuff. Nothing wrong with nice things, but do you need 50, 60 figurines, 60 bottles of detergent, 60 bottles of shampoo? You see where I'm going. And also, 5 days ago, a man has been arrested in the slaying of Rachel Moran. Please check out that information on my community page. Thank you for your time. Join me later for another live stream pertaining to Seth Rogers, his interview with News Nation, Banfield. We're also going to talk about a little dirty leprechaun. We're going to talk about a picture sent to me. We're going to chop up his cancer diagnosis, the things he's told his chat members about his life and his children, and the nonsense that he has access to his children. We're going to talk about all that in the next live stream. We're going to talk about Katie Proudfoot. We're going to talk about if indeed she unalived her boy child, the motive. Could it be she wanted to get rid of Seth in her life? Tired of dealing with him, tired of being bothered. Was this a package deal? 2 for 1. Knock off the kid. I don't have to deal with the bio father. This is a commenter's choice live stream coming up. A comment made by a person in the chat. Did Katie Proudfoot rid her child to be done with Seth Rogers? We're going to talk about Seth's interview with Tony Mathis and Banfield. And we're also going to talk about another little dirty YouTuber. Why he came to Tennessee. What happened to him and Michaela and the Seth nonsense. That should be a very interesting live stream. You don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it. Give me about 10 o'clock, sweetheart. I'll be going live in a couple hours. Live number 4. Thank you for your time, everybody. Like, share, subscribe. Drop your comments below this video. Take the polls on my community page. Put your comments underneath the videos and the posts pertaining to the subject matter. Please let me say this before I check out. Please stick to the subject on the community page. It throws off the creator and also people who comment because they don't know what you're talking about if you talk about another subject under the post. So please refrain from talking about other things that don't have anything to do with the subject because people don't understand what you're talking about when you talk about other things that have nothing to do with the post or the short. Please check out my extensive library. I'm accumulating of shorts for topics I don't want to do live streams on. I give you 15 seconds of my opinion and breaking news. Thank you for your time. Like, share, subscribe. And if you'd like to donate to this great network, $ Big Angie 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are welcome during the live stream. Thank you, Miss Penny, for the super sticker. God bless all of you. See you later tonight. Katie Proudfoot, Seth Rogers, a very unlucky leprechaun, and the motive for murder of a boy child. You've been listening to the Vault XL.